So where we left off, site looked a bit ugly, and it wasn't loading what we thought would make it look pretty. So by doing an inspect element, looking at the console, we quickly see the problem is here, what we are loading. Right, so let's go back. Let's go back to our file, the Bootstrap index, and now we see this is the problem, right? So how do you take care of it? So let's go back to where we had templates and Django. So we looked at the documentation a while ago. So let's look at it again. So this was in our Django documentation. I think and it is a bit slow. Okay, but here it is. This can be, maybe this will load a bit faster. You don't have to search for it. Okay. So it's still the same one. Okay, so there we go. So here's where last time we stopped. We didn't do this part. So the first thing to do is we need to load the static files, right? So we need to come here, then we need to do that. Because as you remember, we say that all your JS, all your CSS, all those are static files. So for us to work with them, we need to load them first. Okay. So once we get here, it's telling us we're gonna do this, CSS, bootstrap main.css, but we do not have that anywhere. However, here somehow it existed, so maybe we can check it out, see what that was. So if we look at it and we click it, we can see that all these documents, all this data is already there, right? So what you're gonna do, you're just gonna copy this part. Just gonna copy all that. Then you're gonna go to our directory. Okay. So you remember we had our content here. Up one directory, we had it in the assets folder. Then we had it in the static folder, right? So we had some of CSS here. Okay, so we already downloaded these ones. So Bootstrap main CSS, here it is. And actually this also uses JS, which is there as well. And if we looked at our page source, we would have seen it. So if you look at our page source down here, we also have a lot going on about CSS, JS I mean. Okay. So once we have that, we need to make sure that it loads, right? So first of all, first we do not have this dist folder, so we're gonna get rid of it. So we just have this, so just voila. So this is all we have. But loading it like this still doesn't work. Or maybe it works. Let's see. Okay. So it still doesn't load. So maybe what you need to do, we need to provide it with all the information it needs. So to do that, we use template tags. You might have noticed that was given here in the documentation. So when you look at the documentation, we had this particular content, right? So to load a static file, this is how we load it. After making sure that you have, of course, loaded this. So come here, at this part, at the end as well. Okay, then of course we provide our static here, and then we put this in brackets. So we must put this in brackets because you're passing this as an argument to this. Then you write out. So this is just a helper. Okay, let's see if you have made any progress. Okay, so that looks like progress. So now one of our CSS files has loaded, and that makes our site look that much more awesome. But we still have others which haven't loaded. We have the Jumbotron narrow CSS and so on. So we want to see where are they. Okay, so that one is not even downloaded. So let's go back here. We look at the source. Where is the narrow? Here we go. So that one also needs to be provided. So we're gonna copy it, put it here as well. So we're gonna call it Jumbotron. Then was it narrow? Jumbotron, then narrow. Yes, narrow.css. Okay. So let's go right ahead and paste it out there. Of course, we need to make sure that we repeat this entire process. So that involves copying all this once more. Right, so I think so far so good. So we don't need this part here. I think this should work as well. Let's see if that one was loaded. So let's try refreshing. Okay, so now that one is gone. So that one's loaded as well. So we have this emulation modes warning, which again is not there. So basically, we make sure that we have all this. So you're told, alright, so this is not to be used. So you're gonna just go right ahead and ignore that. Let's look at this one. Sorry. So this does not exist in our Python file, just exists here. So we need to make sure that we look for it here, which is our bug workaround. I don't think you're gonna have any bugs, but anyway, let's just look for it still. So bug workaround. So IT10. Okay, so if you're likely to be using this on a Windows 8, probably want to use this one out. Since we are not using it, you're just gonna delete it. Yes, so we're gonna delete things that we don't need. We don't need this. So I'm gonna go right ahead and do that and delete it. And then let me look for more things I don't need. Okay, so we had this. Also, I've decided that I'm not going to support this. Okay, let's just support it. Okay, so we can look at it. Just need to copy all this so that you can see the process. Fairly similar. Come here, you build in your JS, you add your JS. So it was called IE10. So you must make sure that you load all that. So we need to create a new file called IE10 bootstrap JS. Okay. So just go up in our assets, static JS, create a new document, call that, done. Come back to our project and just refresh so I get the new file. Then once in, just need to paste in this code they provided for us. Okay, so all that workaround was just so that I don't have to type in that long name. Okay, so far so good. So we write it out. See, so let's for us just okay. So once I've loaded that, I also need to change it here. The structure is pretty much the same, so we're not gonna care that much about supporting this. So we're gonna go right back here and copy all what we got from the other. That just paste it here for now. And realize that we don't need anything going ahead. Okay, let me first delete this just so we don't confuse ourselves. So we don't need anything up to there, because I'll just start directly to JS. Okay, so once you're there, like once we have that part done, then you can put in what you normally use to load. So double quotes, which you don't need. Let's go back, copy the last bit we needed. Come back here, paste it out. Okay. Don't need that one. Actually, we need that one. This is the one that we don't need. This needs to look like that. Okay, so let's try it now, see what happens. Okay, so that's now okay. Look at this Jumbotron narrow CSS. thought we had that one. Yes, it's there. So let me just see what could have gone wrong with it. Oh yeah, we forgot to put in our CSS ahead here, because this has to load from the CSS folder. Okay, so far so good. So load it. Alright, so now we have our clean page, everything is loading as expected, and we are happy. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get to this page.